Welcome to the Squad Show. I'm Sam Ekstrom. Vikings win 16-13, but I thought they did away with the fourth preseason game.
Arif, code open?
No, it's Ron.
Ron, it's on
Ron's
you.
On the,
Oh, it's on me.
Yeah.
My box has it differently. So I have I'm gonna screenshot this.
It's preseason
But
for
anyway,
everybody.
Perfect. Yeah.
Ron Johnson, JJ McCarthy. Hey, he didn't get to finish it out, but Max Brosmer, does he get the W?
I think technically that's called the save, right? Because he went in with the lead. Hey, this is Arif Hasan with Wide Left Football. I missed a Christmas party for this.
And I'm Luke Braun from Locked On Vikings. Vikings win! Yeah! Woo! Wait, what? Why aren't you guys all happy?
Skol! It's the Viking Squad. Everything Minnesota Vikings every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the land of 10,000 lakes. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. It's time to gear up. The Viking Squad Show starts now.
A cold open that was representative of the game that was just played. Welcome into the Vikings Squad Show. We appreciate you being here. The Vikings have won 3 in a row. Why does it feel so hollow? We'll tell you about it. We'll tell you why you should care about some parts of this game and why
we will.
We are going to endeavor to do that. We are going to give the best hour of Vikings analysis you've ever heard on that football game right here on Locked On Vikings, streaming live, audio on the Locked On Vikings podcast platforms on the #1 podcast sports podcast network. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. I'm filling in for Luke Inman today. He usually goes to Ron Johnson batting leadoff. And Ron, this sucks because I think this was always the game that you didn't care about, right? Because you're looking forward to Green Bay and Detroit. Detroit on Christmas, Green Bay the final week of the season. Both teams probably with a lot at stake. US Bank Stadium could be rocking, even though you're out of the playoffs. You were looking forward to those games because you thought, well, maybe JJ McCarthy can pull off some big upsets, can end the season on a 5-game winning streak. And now, with a hand injury suffered by JJ McCarthy on his final play of the first half, that all may be in question. That there may not be another truly intriguing moment around your rookie quarterback for the rest of the year, and another injury added to the count for JJ McCarthy. It turned this into a preseason game in the second half.
Yeah, and not only that, I feel sorry for all the people that are flying to Minnesota for Christmas. Their kids' hope was to see JJ McCarthy, but Brian Burns, he just said,
what is this?
What is it?
Okay. Oh, my God.
Okay.
Wow.
For the audio listeners,
on YouTube,
Ron has a Mr. Grinch t-shirt that he just revealed.
Brian Burns really just flat out ruined some kids' Christmases. Some kids right now are crying. Some parents that haven't probably exposed the tickets to their kids yet, that are in the stocking, that they're waiting Sunday morning, or Thursday morning to wake up. You know, they think they're just going to have breakfast, and then they're like, they were going to video it so they can put it on Twitter for all the, Vikings fans to see their kids cheer when they get the tickets on Thursday morning. Like, what? We're going to the game. I get to see JJ McCarthy. It's like, okay, wait, we're going to the game. And we're going to the game. Unfortunately, you have to look forward to, the opponent. I think that's what a lot of people are going to be excited about, seeing the opponent and how good they are. I'm not going to say Brian Flores' defense is awesome. But yeah, Sam, you're right. JJ McCarthy's injury, when everybody saw it, because for people to keep tweeting it out, we all watched it. He cringed or whatever. He winced when they touched his hand at some point. So either there's a broken bone or there's something that's not going to allow him to grip the football. Because you could say hopefully it was like a surface scratch earlier in the summer. Where he just has to put a Band-Aid on it. But that looked really bad, as if it was a broken hand or some type of broken bone. If it was on the left hand, he probably still would grit it out. But the fact that it's on his throwing hand, all but leads to this is Max Brosmer's season to finish out, which I tweeted, great for Max Brosmer. He gets to show that he belongs to be the backup. That first, Seahawks game was not great. But you got to face the Lions and the Packers, and that's also kind of not great. You were hoping to have JJ McCarthy's legs. You're not going to have that if he's out. And it did. Yeah, it pretty much felt very blah for the most part. The most output we saw from the Giants was Tyler Nubin on offense. Like his offense output was the highest for the Giants. I hope he gets the game ball. But yeah, it sucks for Vikings fans. It sucks for JJ McCarthy and what Kevin O'Connell to do. I tweeted out a video too. The very first play to Jordan Addison that he dropped was a pure progression read, and JJ McCarthy read it perfectly. Like I tweeted the video out. He did a great job of realizing that they were running a Bill Belichick defense, which is on half the field, we're going to take away two of your best weapons. And on the other side, we're going to go man. And JJ McCarthy caught both safeties kind of going where they were going to go. One went over the top of Jefferson. The other one came down to Hawkinson. They still had man underneath, but then the left side was fully man. And he could have gone to the corner or he could have gone to the out return. He took the corner route. Addison caught him in the chest and, just didn't come down with it. So it sucks that that's the last opportunity J.J. McCarthy probably has to learn pure progression offenses.
Yeah, we assume that it, like Ron said, maybe a broken bone. My guess is they were escorting him straight to the X-ray machine to get a better look at it. But Luke Braun, like Ron's talking about, this was a good J.J. McCarthy half, I think you would say. This was another continuation on what we saw from him the last two games. 2.5 good games. Looked like he was going to notch a third straight win. It would have been genuinely exciting on Christmas Day to watch him play the Lions again, and we may be robbed of that.
It's like enough for me not to write off the last two as a fluke, but it was closer to me to like the way he played in Detroit or the way he played at home against Chicago. A lot of passes were high. There was a pretty nasty turn down in the red zone. The play that did get him hurt is a screen where he freezes deer in headlights because somebody's in the screen lane. You have to just be able to turf that. And you had like pre-snap issues again, like a lot of the old issues from earlier in the season were coming back up. So I was ready to say like, I think we maybe have kind of backslid into some old bad habits here. We've got to figure that out. And then that's the taste left in his mouth. But then that Addison throw Ron was talking about was a great throw. And there were a couple of other really nice plays, the touchdown, nice scramble. So I was ready to come in and kind of say, okay, up and down first half, let's see what happens in the second half. And then obviously,
yeah,
the worst thing that can happen now though, is that those two good games against Washington and Dallas are only two games. And you aren't going to be able to add to that sample of good play, whether it was going to be good or not. You have to say, well, was that a fluke or not? We just don't get to answer that question, which the Vikings are really good at not allowing you to answer the questions you want to answer. It's like the thing they do best.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was a weird half. It was an up and down half, and I was ready to kind of say,
yes,
this is somewhere in the middle for him.
The drops,
but
though. The drops
were terrible.
Sam, of course the drops were terrible.
Yeah.
If you would just evaluate him play by play, give him the drops, which were primarily, in my opinion, on the receivers, right? There were some things he could have done to help control whatever.
The
right?
interception is more on Naylor. I get it. It's a little behind him, but
sure, right, exactly,
that,
right.
You idiot.
So you give him all of those, but you do want to ask questions about hey, what's up with the false start followed by the delay of game? Hey, what's up with the ball placement here? What's up with the operational errors when it comes to you got to get rid of the ball on a screen, dude? There are things that he did poorly that I think the box score is going to make him look worse than he played. I agree with all of that, right? But there are things that he did poorly that make me I think that he played fine, right? Which is a huge improvement over what we were seeing over a good chunk of the season, right? But it's nothing like we saw Commanders, Cowboys, whatever, which we also expected, right? We didn't think that level of production, no matter what the defense was going to be, was going to continue, especially against this pass rush. But, there were elements here that, weren't wonderful, right? The turn down in the red zone to Jalen Naylor at the pylon, I thought was pretty bad. Very weird for Jonathan Vilma to circle in open Jalen Naylor and then say no one was open. Okay, it looks like I'm frozen.
You're not. You're going.
Keep going.
Oh, no, there he goes. Then he froze.
And he's gone.
He froze right after he said that. He called it. Wow.
He sensed his
great.
own demise.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
he's
frozen.
Oh, we got back.
Hear his
we got
voice,
him back.
and he's back. We've got you back.
Okay. Cool. I don't even know what you heard.
Fantastic stuff.
Most of it.
Okay, great. Yeah. So the turn down in the end zone with Jalen Naylor, where Jonathan Vilma circled an open receiver and then said nobody was open. There were elements of his play that really you would expect a starter to execute that he didn't. And then there were elements of his play that are more than excusable. The perfect throw to Addison that should have been a touchdown. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, Ron, you were saying this week, even if he finished 5-0, you would still be considering a competition in camp. And now, not only could that not happen, but you've now added a hand injury onto an ankle injury, onto a concussion, onto a knee injury. Like that's 4. That's 4 injuries in 10 games, I think. 1 preseason, 9 regular season. That the ratio is not good. This has to be taken into account when you're making your future QB decisions.
Yeah, so he's 3-0, right? Or 2-0, and he started a game and got saved. But yeah, it's very frustrating with that when you look at the injury, because now we really don't know if it is a broken hand. That's usually only about, with surgery, cast it up, that's usually about 2 to 3 months. But again, that's the throwing hand. So if it was the offhand, I'd be like 2 to 3 months, he's back. But now the throwing hand, you got to rebuild the strength. You got to rebuild, all the stuff. You got to make sure the ligaments are where they're supposed to be. You got to make sure the fingers haven't shrunk because the ligament got, reattached differently. I mean, there's so much, because you've seen football fingers, from different, like Deion Sanders, like my pinky, this is about as far as it gets straight, so like when you break stuff in your hand, like my hands look kind of bad, like it just doesn't work. Like I can't put a ring finger on unless it's a rubber band on my left hand. So there's so much with a hand that you lose, like the ability to close it completely. Like there's all kinds of stuff. And so now we have to wait and see what that is. My guess is they x-rayed it at the game. They probably don't have to tell us, maybe Kevin O'Connell gets mad and just, angrily says it to the press, or, we get that Tuesday presser or Wednesday when they have to tell us what's going on. But we're for sure going to have to know something, unless they just leave it as hand injury on the injury report and get through the rest of the season without telling anybody. But if they really do want to put him on IR because he's not coming back, then they'll have to say what it is. And again, they still could just say hand injury, IR, and then they bring in a third quarterback now to get through the rest of the season. And so
come on back, Desmond Ridder.
It's just a crazy circumstance that we're going to go into Christmas with John, what's his name, as the backup quarterback now.
John, what's his name? That is so so appropriate.
Sorry, are you talking about Arizona Hot Shots legend John Wolford? Is that who you're talking about?
John Wolford.
Yeah. John W.
He's now the backup for potential. I mean, and again, I'm being super Luke Braun-ish mad about everything right now.
Whoa.
But I'm guessing that's what we're going to get on Christmas. Netflix is not happy. I know that. Like Netflix is probably sitting back like, really? Like we were expecting to have JJ McCarthy talk all week. Now Diana Rossini doesn't even get to do her bit with JJ McCarthy. It's, there's so much that was supposed to happen.
Damage all around. Yeah. We're all
everybody's emotionally damaged right now. But I think you brought it up to Arif about Vilma and how they were talking about guys not being open. There were a couple times where I don't really think the broadcast understood what was going on, and I think Luke Braun might have said it, the quick, supposed to be a screen and he took the hit from Burns. That's one of those, the minute the defender jumps in the air, you got to like whip your body around and throw it into the ground and take a hit in the back. Like, I don't know why he did like a weird turn this way throw. It's got to turn your body and just throw it to the ground and you fall like Eli Manning used to do that a lot. And that's how you just know you're going to take the hit, but you don't let them hit you like square into the body. You kind of turn sideways and almost like give up. You just fall to the ground like, don't touch me, like Debo is here. But again, that's lack of being on his feet doing these type of things. Like he doesn't know how to quickly get rid of a screen pass. Unfortunately, that's what it looked like today. I will say, in my opinion, I think Brian O'Neill let Brian Burns go way too soon because you're the backside tackle in that tunnel screen. You don't need to let him go that quick. Like it almost looked like he just was like, oh, JJ's getting rid of this. It's more should be 1-2, then you go. It looked like he just went. And that's why Brian Burns was there so fast.
Yeah. I mean, even if it'd be a cool story, Braun, if Brosmer goes and beats the Lions and Packers, how incredible would that be?
That would be very funny.
I will be in the streets on Christmas night with my oar, like going down my street.
Yeah. Eliminated. The Lions eliminated, basically.
I'm going to row in the snow. That's going to be my hashtag.
Oh my God.
Row in the snow. Like Max pulls this off Christmas, I will be rowing in the snow with liquor because guess what? I get to do the fan line from home next week, Christmas, because I don't have to go into work for the fan line. So I will be ready for that.
Yeah. Long-term franchise ramifications, though, if that happens, Braun, it feels less important. It feels like the second that McCarthy went down, I suddenly didn't care about the result of this game. The game felt a lot more relevant.
And that's going to be the way the next two feel too, assuming that this isn't something that, McCarthy will be fine from tomorrow. But like the stakes for Brosmer, I think there's some intrigue to it because he can earn a chance to win a job next year. And that could be a chance to win the QB2 job if he plays well enough for that. But if it's like the Seattle game and he's a total disaster and stuff, he's under contract, so they'll bring him into camp, but he's going to be banished to QB4 again, or he could be competing with somebody they bring in as a backup, or if he really plays well enough and they let him compete for the job, like that's, I guess, the, pie in the sky ceiling or whatever. But the way, because we're in the offseason now, we can be straight about that. McCarthy and Brosmer are both under contract for next season. They're going to be in the building barring trades. So the question becomes, what are they going to be competing for in camp? What will camp mean to them? And that's what these last couple of games can influence. But yeah, I don't think there's a world where you're really looking at it like, well, maybe Max Brosmer is the future of the franchise. I think the next Brock Purdy is a sentence that Kevin O'Connell probably will never utter again.
Ye of little faith, Luke. Ye of little faith. I just went to see the cartoon movie, my kids, David. That's what I feel like Max Brosmer is going to be out there.
There we go. Okay.
I'm happy for him.
To lead a singular touchdown drive.
I'm truly happy that
Goliath. He's about to hit Dan Campbell in the head with the slingshot. Watch, Max Brosmer's about to come out over 300.
There have been 18 Max Brosmer led drives, and there has been one field goal. Let's watch.
Luke, I do have a question for you. From an all 22 standpoint, Luke. And I've had a little bit of I'm going to do some peer progression stuff. Well, we'll see if they let me do it now with Max, being hurt. But our goal was to have some peer progression stuff this week of JJ McCarthy. But here, from a film standpoint, Luke, and I don't know if you noticed this, on third down, even the shallow route, Addison was already blocking the guy. Watch it back. Addison starts blocking the first 3rd and 12 or 3rd and 11. Addison's running the cross shallow.
Oh, yeah.
He starts blocking way before the throw is even made, which tells me that was probably hey, go to Justin on this one. Addison's lucky he didn't get a flag. But I say that to say this, Luke. Do you think if Kevin O'Connell were to do that for Max Brosmer, he could have similar success, which means most of your third downs are going to be designed like screens to just get the ball out of your hands?
I would have to go back and look at that Seahawks game, which I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not going to do to see if that's what they did.
There were no design easy plays for Max.
There were none there.
Game.
Yeah,
there were. There were basic progression read stuff, but again, I think Kirk Cousins had the best explanation of it. It literally changed my life because you do have to eliminate 1 and 2, and then it makes total sense. So it's still a normal read. You're just eliminating 2 out of your 5 reads or 2 out of your 4 reads right away. And I think that's where JJ was struggling, was the split coverage. He was slow to eliminate 2 guys, and that's why he was getting caught with the ball. But I just looked at those third down plays, and it was Justin Jefferson making a play for JJ McCarthy. But I just wonder if Max Brosmer gets a similar offense, here's where you go with the ball on third down. Justin, go be great for us. Because Kevin O'Connell's trying to get Justin Jefferson. I mean, what does he need now? 80 yards, I think. Yeah, 85 today. So he needs 83 yards. So he's trying to get him 83 more yards in 2 games.
That play call with 2 blockers downfield and it's like a catch and run crosser.
Yeah,
that's I can think of 3 other times they've called that as a 3rd and long. They love that 3rd and long play call. They converted it twice last year with Aaron Jones being the play caller, and I think both were against the Bears. And then I think they converted one like that last week, if I recall. That's like a kind of catch and run. I think they've gotten it to Hawkinson before, so they love that play call. If they end up in some 3rd and longs next week, which, well, I'm going to guess that's that. Yep. I could see that play call for sure.
Jefferson's yak always has been underrated. He showed it today. He got his mojo back with 85 yards. Arif will give your internet a crack after this break and figure out how Justin Jefferson got rolling today in a Less than scintillating, 16-13 win. We are brought to you today by Car Gurus. Car shopping should feel exciting, not confusing. With Car Gurus, you get the confidence you deserve. They cut through all the noise so you can actually see the best deals on the cars you want, because when it comes to a big purchase, you deserve the best deal. And Car Gurus makes that whole process simple by giving you real information, real deal ratings, and more listings than anyone else, so you can shop the way you want. Their price drop alerts, what I really love. Total lifesaver. Get notified the second a car you're watching becomes a better deal. You hate to have buyer's remorse when you see that lower price. That's what Car Gurus can help avoid. Car Gurus connects you with trusted dealerships for a transparent and hassle-free buying process. With over 4 million listings and most of any major online automotive marketplace, you'll always find the best deal. Shop the way you want with the tools, data, and unbiased deal ratings that make it easy. Buy or sell your next car today at cargurus.com. That's CARGURUS.com. cargurus.com. Justin Jefferson, mired in a slump, busted out of it today. 6 catches, 85 yards. Passed Jarvis Landry for the most receptions in his first 6 seasons. He's like 30 yards shy of Randy Moss for the most yards in a player's first 6 seasons. And he is, as Ron said, 83 yards short of the coveted 1,000 mark. I love Justin Jefferson with the ball in his hands. We forget how good he is with the football. And I think he showcased it 3 times today on third downs, I believe, in every case where the Vikings just got it to him underneath, kind of a delayed release, set up some blockers, but a couple of times he's just making dudes miss. And he had 2 great grabs on the sideline.
He did, yeah. Like, one of the unique things about Jefferson is that there is not a receiver role that he can't fill, which is just so rare among, like, even high-level receivers, right? Like, you wouldn't ask Jamar Chase to line up in the backfield, right? Like it's just, it is kind of... All right, Luke. It is kind of crazy.
It kind of sounds fun, I'm not going to lie.
It's probably fun. It's probably not a good idea. But it is kind of crazy that you can ask Jefferson to do basically anything. Maybe don't line him up at, like, inline tight end, right? And that's kind of where you're drawing that line. But yeah, you can have him play like a short, slant-heavy receiver, be like Odell Beckham during some of those years. You can have him play as an intermediate primary receiver, which has been his role in a lot of these offenses. Or you can have him be a deep threat, or like you just said, or we just saw, have him operate as a guy who's winning yards after the catch. It doesn't even have to just be screens, which we saw in one of those third and longs. It can be like we just saw in the other third and long. Like a crosser that's like real, just a short, shallow drive route where you just have like maybe one tight end, in this case TJ Hawkinson, set up a block to create that extra yardage. His balance and his body control are outstanding. Like, he's pretty fast, but obviously that's not where all of this comes from. It comes from his balance and body control and a really great sense of awareness of where everybody is.
Yeah, we got most of that, Arif, a little bit of internet difficulty, but Ron, would you say that, and we've heard it, the past month, how Justin Jefferson has remained upbeat. He's stayed, he said all the right things, and it really genuinely looks like in a game like this, he cares a ton, right, Ron? Like, can you go in Justin Jefferson's head and kind of speak to what he's been going through this season, the frustration he must be feeling, and have you thought that this has been an admirable kind of stretch of positivity that he's had to show?
Yeah, and it shows his team behind him. Like Kevin Hart, or not Kevin Hart, sorry, Chris Carter. Always said, your team is the one that are going to help you. And when I say team, I mean family. So you got like family, agents. You got your marketing and advertising group. Everybody's in your ear, right? And some guys that are disconnected from that team, you could tell by how they react to the media, or guys that don't really trust their team. Justin Jefferson's mama, she's not playing. She's like, look, baby, you making this much money. You got all these brands wanting you to be in their commercial, and you're over in stores with customers, and you got diamonds, a diamond shovel on your necklace, and you got cereal bowls, you got all that, you got beds and pillows, you just got to stay who you are. I just saw him this week with, the children's hospital stuff, and he's like doing a fashion show with those kids, and they're gritty. And like, this is a guy that understands like life is a lot worse than not catching passes from JJ McCarthy. Like that's where I think people forget. Like this time of the year, there's so many people that commit suicide. I just saw a 3-year-old kid left alone because the dad and mom committed suicide, murder suicide. We don't know the story. And who knows what happened? Could be money, could be whatever. Like there's a lot going on in people's lives. And I think Justin Jefferson is kind of being a leader, showing everybody like, look, and you can't act that way. Like if it was Donovan McNabb in his locker room, I think JJ might be a little bit more outspoken. If it was Kirk Cousins in his locker room, I think JJ might be a little bit more, not too much, but a little bit more outspoken because he knows it's a veteran who knows, they should be doing this. The biggest thing with JJ is, man, like it's tough, but you're never like the noisy wheel gets the oil or something like that, or I forgot how they say it.
Squeaky wheel gets the grease.
The squeaky wheel gets the grease. There you go. But that only works for so long, right? Eventually you just change the tire. Like you're like, okay, let's give it a little grease, and then look, let's just change the tire. And I think that's what Justin Jefferson understands too. You don't want to be like your legacy. You don't want it to be like T.O., right? You don't want everybody to be making conversation about you doing sit-ups on your lawn and doing a full workout or chasing your quarterback down the sideline. Like you don't want that. You don't want it to be Stephon Diggs leaving multiple teams because you had a cold one week. The next week you're making fun of somebody's girlfriend on the sideline. Like you don't want those issues. Like that stuff follows you long term. And JJ knows, like, man, it could be worse. Like I'm a professional football player with diamonds on my neck out here playing football. Like it's gonna be okay. And he's about to get 1,000 yards. He got 2 games. I think Max Brosmer or whoever is the quarterback, if it's John Wolford, like if it's Josh McCown decides to suit up this week because Phillip Rivers inspired him, JJ will get his yards. But yeah, I mean, we have to give him credit for not losing his mind because a lot of guys would have crashed out by now.
Yeah. Braun, I mean, final thoughts here on Jefferson. One of the last reasons, if McCarthy's not in, to get kind of fired up to go to the game and see what he can do and see if he can made 5 great plays today. Like that's the one of the, in the highlight reel is going to have a lot of nothing and then Justin Jefferson popping today.
Yeah, it's nice to see him get back to form in that way because he's had some games that genuinely where he played poorly. And he's had games where he didn't produce because the quarterback played poorly that weren't his fault, but then there were sometimes that were. So it's nice to see that kind of return to form, even in a thing that's meaningless. It's very clear that it's never really stopped Jefferson. Jefferson has never been the kind of guy to like hang him up in a lost season or to start, half-assing it. Like he's always been the right kind of teammate, which is why it always pisses me off when people kind of apply those same wide receiver stereotypes to him that you have been replying to any wide receiver with good stats since Terrell Owens, because he's so clearly not that guy. He's still the emotional backbone of the team. He's still an extremely important part of the team. He's probably the only untouchable thing on this team as we go into an off season where I think a lot of stuff is going to turn over. But yeah, I know it was nice to see it kind of roll back a little bit and say, oh, okay, there's the Jefferson we know. Mm-hmm. And it helps you kind of say, okay, whatever was going on, it was a blip, and we're going to be good for 2026.
Yeah, let's also give a salute to the other offensive silver lining in this game. Aaron Jones playing through an ankle and possibly a hammy at the end.
Jesus
the
Christ.
game-sealing run, 85 yards. You lose Jordan Mason on the first drive. If Jones is not able to go, you're giving C.J. Ham carries. They gave C.J. Ham a carry in this game, and Xavier Scott. That's your backfield. So a hat tip to Aaron Jones for showing up on a day when he probably could have not. He could have not come back in that game, and we wouldn't have faulted him for it. When we return, we'll talk about the Vikings defense, but more so the pathetic approach of the New York Giants in absolute unserious tank mode today. Could not be more transparently trying to get the number 1 overall pick. We'll talk about that next. We are brought to you today by FanDuel. NFL Sundays, they move fast. One big play can change everything. So it makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it. You sense the trend about to turn. You put the money on the live line, and that's when some magic can happen with some of those live next touchdown scorers, next drive result, the live player props. You can cash in big on FanDuel with those live same-game parlays as well. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com. Place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. All right. This is why it felt like a preseason game in many ways. That crowd could not have been more disenchanted with their team. I'm not sure they cared if their team won. They have a young quarterback that also needs to develop, and they could not have been more disinterested in letting him develop. He had 1 completion in the first half on 5 attempts with an interception. He was sacked 5 times. So granted, and they lost a lineman in the game. They didn't give him a lot of help. But I think the run-pass ratio was something like 30-12 in the game. Are you kidding me? With the New York Giants?
I don't think that's because like the first drive, you had 31 yards on 2 runs, right? They started with 2 runs. They get 31 yards on those 2 runs. And then you also have, what was it, a pass interference penalty that moves them and a roughing the passer penalty that moves them. Like, he did drop back to pass, but then he gets sacked, and that's a penalty for some reason. And then he throws an incompletion, and that's a penalty for a better reason. So they don't get logged as attempts in the book, right? I don't know. Like, I think that they had a fine run-pass balance until the Vikings switched out their personnel and they were able to finally stop the run early in the game, right? And then in the second quarter, maybe they're not passing enough. But, like, the first quarter, they had 1 drive, right? And so in the second quarter, he doesn't get his first completion until, 1:40 left, I think, in the half, which is very funny. But a lot of that is because there are dropbacks with other sacks, and he's not very good. Like, he's just not good. And so a lot of the dropbacks are not completions. I don't know. Like, I feel like the run-pass balance seems more severe than it was because all of these plays that should have been passes end up not being passes for just weird, wonky reasons, because it was a sack, and so it doesn't count as an attempt, or it was a penalty, so it doesn't count as an attempt, or it was a different kind of penalty, so it doesn't count as an attempt. So, I don't know, like, there were dropbacks, but, like, also they were doing a really good job running the ball in the first half, so I can see why they were averaging more yards per run than they were per dropback, so I get it.
I'm not buying it. Ron, they were tanking. The Giants were tanking. They didn't want to win that game.
You know, when a team is that bad, it's so hard to tell the difference.
It is
between trying and failing, and then fit. I don't think so. I think if you're going to levy that accusation, you need reporting, not just they were really bad. We have seen worse offensive outputs from our own team in games that mattered. No way.
I would like to see some historical perspective on Dart's 1 completion in the first half, where that stacks up.
Look, the fact that they didn't pass the ball in the first half, you say, oh, that's a tanking move. I say, I don't know. I think I might have done the same thing if my quarterback was playing like that. I think tanking
and my running back was averaging 7 yards a carry. Yeah.
You got Javon Hargrave on the other side? No way. I'm running this every single time.
They didn't have Javon Hargrave on the other side. Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah, because he got pulled immediately. But
he didn't. No, he was inactive. He didn't play.
He was inactive.
Oh, so it was Levi Drake. All right, well,
they didn't put Levi Drake in until after the first 2 runs that went for like 15 and 18 or something like that.
Who was in on those then? Would that have been like? Oh, you know what it was? It was Ingram Dawkins. Yeah, no, my point.
That was probably it. Yeah.
No, I think I might have done the same thing. That
Levi
first
and Levi
completion
Drake
happened on the
Rodriguez was out there
4th
too.
possession. Mm-hmm. On the 4th possession of the game, they went 3 drives without completing a pass.
Ron, can you be enthused about the defense on a day like this where the opponent was so punchless?
Yeah, and that's what I was just looking at. So you look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 third downs, right? 3rd and 6, 3rd and 8. You got 2 short ones, 3rd and 7, 15, 18, 9, and 16. that's just really killing them on first and second down. I think Brian Flores did a great job. I think Jaxson Dart made a couple comments to me, or not to me, sorry, made a couple comments that to me sounded weird. So he said, like, Brian Flores is known for going back into the archives and finding, defenses that worked against this team, meaning he just watches film and looks up when you got sacked. And you could see Kafka was trying his best to like give him multiple goal counts. You can hear him say, go, go, go. Like he was doing a bunch and I think Brian Flores probably said, hey, look, let's just let it wind down to 1 second. Don't move. And you saw that a bunch. Even the non-sack, but Eric Wilson's, I don't know what, and that's my guy too, John Michael Schmidt. I don't know what he was thinking there, but Eric Wilson kind of came up, acted like, okay, you got me blocked, I'm gonna stop going. And then he went. And it's like, why did you stop blocking him? Like John Michael Schmidt was just like, okay, I blocked you. All right, I'm not blocking you no more. And then he just lets him free and he comes in and actually kills Dart. Now, Schmidt probably thought like, Jaxson Dart surely has thrown the ball by now, and he hadn't. So if there was a tanking assignment, it was on the quarterback. I don't think anybody else knew that they were supposed to be tanking except for the quarterback, because some of his decision making was pretty bad on the RPO stuff, and on some of the like kill plays and some of the other stuff that happened, like Abdul Carter lining up in the neutral zone. Again, unless those two rookies were told, hey, you guys are stars, you're going to be here, do some stuff to help us lose this game. It's hard to say. I think they're just bad. I really do. Like when I did,
I would have liked if Brian Burns were tanking. It would have been nice if Brian Burns.
It would be nice if
because our quarterback would still be healthy.
Yeah.
But when I did the
actually,
3-minute
can I
drill,
jump in on that because we have some updates?
Yeah.
From Kevin O'Connell, right hand injury unknown. He could not grip the ball. And Kevin O'Connell actually said that going into that play, he couldn't grip the ball, which might be why he didn't throw it. And might be why that fumble came out so easily. So the implication is that the injury may have happened before that screen. But and
he hit his helmet on.
Also, was it the TD run?
Yeah, he hit his hand on a helmet like 3 plays prior.
Yeah, which is the same thing that happened earlier in this season too. So that hand was already unhealthy, and. Yeah, so we don't know the nature of it, though.
Yeah, Ben Gessling says that there'll be further testing tomorrow. And he says, and I haven't seen another reporter say this, but he says, appears to have avoided a broken bone. So
maybe we'll have the Christmas
that's huge.
thing.
If we can see some JJ McCarthy for the rest of the season, my whole mood changes.
We're saving some of Ron's stocking stuffers, it sounds
Those
like.
Christmas gifts just got better if JJ McCarthy. Before I get out of here, the one thing I do want to say to the Giants play calling, when you look at third down, as bad as it was, the only 2 third downs they converted were a 3rd and 1 and a 3rd and 2. Other than that, Brian Flores did a great job of having the guys at the line of scrimmage. And Jaxson Dart's comment was, I'm just not going to think about it because it's too much to think about. That's the one to me that was like, okay, you truly are a frat boy. Yeah, he said something like, I don't want to put too much in my mind with Brian Flores because he does a lot of stuff to get you. And I was like, what?
Yeah, man, I guess.
And I understand his thought process was saying, like, don't try to look at everything Brian Flores does because you're going to get confused. But it's also like, you kind of got to look at it all, because when he puts 7 up, you got to understand who's coming and who's your options and how do I get him to make a mistake. And yeah, I don't think Jaxson Dart or Kafka know how to do that. So that's what you get right now. And that's why they're probably looking for, a head coach that could come in with a really good defense that shut them down. I just don't think they'll go after Brian Flores again, but you never know.
Thanks, Ron. Appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your post-game coverage at 3 Ron Johnson, host of the Ron Johnson
Sending
Show.
Another congratulatory text to Brian.
That's a pretty good point. I forgot about that, though. Like, that does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, it started the whole thing.
Yeah, like the teams that are looking for head coaches could also be Miami, too. Like, I don't think he's going to be on those lists.
Not Miami, you say. Other injury updates. Addison will be evaluated with an ankle, but he did return after that injury. So that unless he re-aggravated it after returning, that seems like it's not overly serious, but probably. I mean, I don't know about Ryan Kelly's, status long term. Another concussion. That is 3 this year. That is, boy, we're climbing 6, 7, 8 now. Career. He's been pretty transparent about his desire to not, as there's now 2 Arifs on my display. Hey,
excellent.
look at
I
that.
love that.
That is alarming.
Excellent.
That is the most terrifying thing I've ever seen.
It is amazing how much every single thing has gone wrong today for both the team and us and the Fox broadcast. What is in the air right now? Is Mercury in retrograde? Like, what is going on?
I feel like Mercury's been in retrograde too often this year for it to be there again. Right?
It's the solstice.
I don't.
Crazy things
happen.
happen.
Oh no, it is the solstice. We don't have to think that hard. It's the solstice.
It is the solstice.
Seasonal atmospheric changes. Ryan
getting
Kelly,
punished for not celebrating pagan Viking holidays.
Yes, that's we should have observed a rest day or something like that. Yeah. Anyway, I heard something about Brian Flores becoming a head coach. There's no way he takes the interview with the Giants, right? Like, they screwed him once.
We've and then didn't Belichick mistakenly congratulate him?
Yeah, he texted the wrong Brian.
Yeah. Well done on getting the job. But we moved on to Ryan and his lot in life. The concussion for Ryan Kelly would almost certainly end his season. That means you're going forward with,
I hope,
and very, very possibly career. I think he was already a cut candidate. He may be a retirement candidate. Too bad for Ryan Kelly, who I think has been what you paid for when he's been in the game. And
he's been a consummate professional. He's been good. He's been better than the backups for sure. There's a noticeable difference when he's in versus when he's out. It sucks, right? But like, he should be thinking about his health, and I hope he does make the decision to retire. Like, for him.
Yeah. There was a real quick poll of Jordan Mason. When the poll is that quick, you always wonder what happened. Did I don't know if KOC addressed that.
He did. He just said ankle didn't return, but he did.
Yeah,
there was no additional information though.
Broadcast said both running backs had ankle injuries, which is great.
I'm wondering if the post I saw that said Addison ankle, I wonder if somebody heard him say Jordan and attributed it to Addison instead of Mason.
Ben Gesson did just add, by the way, X-rays negative on JJ McCarthy, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, as someone in the comments was pointing out, like, they would have done an X-ray basically right away. We would have known if it was broken. So yeah, it makes sense that the X-ray was negative for McCarthy.
Okay. That feels like an injury that will take us into, well, no, I guess it's a short week.
Yeah.
That hurt.
God.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, everybody.
That hurts the chances.
You've got two choices. Watch this or speak to that family member you don't really like.
Yeah. How much do you
Welcome to hell.
The injuries are piling up, though. Hargrave was inactive today. Yeah, they IR'd Darisaw after our last show on Thursday. So you're going into this next game with probably Juergens and School. O'Neal gutted it out today.
Yeah, they barely cleared O'Neal, and Walter Rouse was still not active, man.
Woof.
The depth situation.
It's really like this is going to be an offseason where I think you could genuinely see 30 roster spots change. Like, the depth is so bad.
Yeah.
The depth that has been made up for, like, with draft picks that were supposed to have it that have failed, has been made up for with older players that you now need to shed to cut cap. You could really see like 30 different spots. I mean, this could be a huge, not to mention turnover on the staff. This is going to be a totally different team in 2026, which is probably good because they've got eliminated by Thanksgiving.
The Vikings just lost their safety coach too, right?
Yep, their safety coach did go to Cal.
Yeah, so which I don't know what the impact of that is, but hey, good for that guy.
That's one change. I like the defensive staff feels like the most solidified one, unless guys want to go take college jobs. But,
but yeah, you could see Phillips or McCown gone.
I could see the whole offensive staff gone. Even McCardell, who has this great reputation, but like everybody's dropping him now, man. Like nobody's tied down.
Yeah, everybody's dropping him. The depth receivers, the ones that you stood on the table for, not good.
Yeah, he was saddled with Ty Felton. I will say that. That decision was made, and they were like, "Hey, are you going to fight this?" And he was like, "I guess not."
I guess not. Today. He made a good play today. Good job, Ty Felton.
Yeah, sure.
Got in there.
Matt Daniels probably gone. Hopefully gone. Another operational error on special teams, by the way. So good job,
Will Reichard. Matt 3 Daniels. For 3. Another game MVP type performance for Will Reichard.
So he's the best performing kicker in the NFL right now, right? Right.
Especially after Aubrey's 2 miss week.
Yeah, after Aubrey's misses, and then there's like one other kicker that's doing anything at all right now, and so it's like him and Will Reichard, but he has like 20 fewer kicks.
Let's take some questions from the chat when we come back. We got some coming in already, but the Vikings win 16-13. They're 7-8. They lose J.J. McCarthy. We'll see about the severity, and we'll keep talking Vikings-Giants after a very short pause. Back on the Vikings Squad Show, please check out Luke Braun's Locked On Vikings, 30-minute daily dose. Minnesota Vikings programming announcement, no postgame show on Christmas. Family obligations, holiday, all that. We will, of course, react to the Thursday game on the ensuing Monday episode of the Viking Squad Show. We got some questions about the roughing the passer calls. I'd have to go back in the chat and find it, but I thought they were both good calls. I thought the helmet-to-helmet nature of them was clear.
Is that you just have to do that? They're unavoidable, but like I guess you see helmet-to-helmet, you got to follow.
I think the Harrison Smith one especially was not clearly helmet-to-helmet. The evidence that you have that it's helmet-to-helmet is that Jaxson Dart's helmet moves, which is also what would happen if he were taken unawares by a sack he didn't see coming, which is also what happened. I don't know that we saw any evidence of a helmet contacting a helmet. And the replays were so quick. One of them doesn't show any evidence of anything at all because it can't from the angle. The other one, I don't think, showed evidence of helmet-to-helmet contact.
I think there was. I'm looking at it right now at a replay right now. I think it's face mask to face mask content.
Being how significant of a story the concussions for Dart are this year, I'm surprised Fox didn't give that more attention.
I am a little bit surprised by that too. The Eric Wilson one, it feels like to me Dart ducks his head down, which I know that there's no provision in the rule to protect a defender from a penalty when that happens, but I feel like there should be. And this is one area where, as an enforcement official, you should give yourself latitude to decide what to call. I think, I think both of them are bad examples of the things that we should be calling in order to protect quarterbacks. And also, we didn't get enough time in the replays to get a good understanding of whether or not these were appropriately called.
Correct. Just another faux pas from Fox today. Nick is wondering, and this goes back to Luke Braun, your claim that there's going to be major roster churn. And I think it's valid to ask that, how can the Vikings swing that when their top 20 players are under contract, many at big money, some of them very cuttable, some of them not. You're envisioning a lot of the depth pieces on rookie contracts get swapped out for other cheap contracts. Is that your vision?
There are no depth pieces on rookie contracts. They all didn't make the team before. that's we had 13 undrafted rookies here. Nobody's tied down. And the different, sure, a lot of those people who are under contract, unless you're cutting them for cap space, like a Ryan Kelly situation, then, which I don't think is guaranteed either, because they clearly hate Michael Juergens, and even Alec Lewis was saying they would have put Brandel in if Brandel wasn't the only backup tackle active. So, they still don't believe in him more than Blake Brandel, who cannot snap. They hate that guy. So I don't know if they're going to go make center a big need this offseason, or if they're going to try to do that with Ryan Kelly. That does create a huge problem. It's complicated. I think they should. And they might not be able to decide because he might retire. But situations like Michael Juergens might not make this team next year. So by the time we hit cut down day, it's guys like that, guys that either are on expiring contracts or guys on very cuttable contracts, that then a rookie comes in and beats them out for the job, or a free agent Jeff Okuda style comes in and does it. By the time we hit cut down day, I think a lot of stuff is going to change, because guys that had entrenched positions this year lost those entrenched positions. I'm talking about Juergens's and Ivan Pace's, and also the older guys that are going to get shed for cap space, and maybe they trade somebody away. I think they're going to be very, very active in terms of changing things on this roster that spectacularly failed this season. I think they should be active.
I think they're going to be pretty proactive at center, actually. I think they're going to assume they don't have a starter at center. I don't know if they're going to be proactive on also backup center, but they, like you said, they hate their options, right? There's a guy who has sustained 3 concussions that, even with the fabled and, scientifically rigorous Guardian cap, sustained another concussion. Sorry, I've said my thoughts on Guardian caps, but But like I think that they know that they don't have a long-term answer there with or without Ryan Kelly returning. I think they have a good understanding that he probably won't return, and they don't like anybody they have that has snapped a ball for them. And so I think that they will make that a priority because they're hell bent on making sure that they create the best possible environment for the rookie quarterback, even if it comes to the cost of like a bunch of defensive players. Which I think is an appropriate strategy, assuming that you've got faith in that rookie quarterback. So like, yeah, they do need to make a bunch of moves at cornerback. They do need to make a move at safety. They do need to make probably a move at linebacker. That's a lot of moves that you need to make. But the center seems pretty important. So by that, do I think that they're going to necessarily draft one in the first round? No, maybe there's not a first-round center. Maybe they like Caleb Downs at safety. I don't know, right? But like, I think you'll probably get a day 1 or day 2 pick at center or a really high-value free agent that they're going to be able to navigate this cap situation that looks really sticky at the moment to get around.
I will say, with the cap situation, I think the moves that they are going to want to make on merit are going to get them out of the cap situation. Like, they might be cutting more guys than they need to because those guys got to go.
It's like, hey, man, we only have 53 rosters. So
Jalen Redmond is very good. Sorry, Javon Hargrave, but this is an easy decision.
Yeah, guys retiring. Like, before you can restructure like one contract and then cut a couple of guys you are definitely cutting, and suddenly you're back in the black.
Yeah.
Mike Jones, what are you most worried about? J.J. McCarthy's performance or J.J. McCarthy's durability?
I have a little bit of trouble assessing McCarthy's durability because I don't think the existence of multiple injuries in a season necessarily implicates the long-term durability of a player, unless we are to believe that a guy who played in multiple college football playoffs and in the Big Ten suddenly has fragile little bones. Like, these are not related injuries, right? Like, yeah. I don't know what to say. Like, it sucks that they have kept happening to him, and he does play a little recklessly, which plays a role in it, but he doesn't play Jaxson Dart recklessly, right? He doesn't play Shedeur Sanders recklessly, right? So I think probably this is a misfortune kind of thing, because I don't think that there are any relationships among these injuries that would suggest that this is a repeatability crisis, nor do I think that he's got a body composition that invites this. Because again, I mean, he played like, if he was like a D2 player or an FCS player or something like that, or even like a G5 player, and he didn't have a ton of games against like these big-bodied college players, then maybe. But like, he played a ton of punishing football as a 3-year starter, right? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't think that there's any evidence to suggest that we really should be concerned about injury long-term, except that he has been injured, which to me is not compelling if they're not related. But I am concerned about the play. It needs to improve drastically, and improvement, like we've mentioned a couple of times on the show, is not necessarily linear. So the fact that he's made improvements, which I don't think are anything close to complete, over the past 3 weeks, don't suggest to me that he is playing at a starting quality or a starting level just yet. So to me, that's the bigger concern. There's a long road ahead of him.
Yeah, the two things are related, right? Like his ability to protect himself and failure to protect himself got him hurt multiple times this year. He didn't go out of bounds fast enough in Atlanta, and then he gets that tackle and he gets the high ankle sprain. He steps up into the back of his lineman and he hurts his hand on the back of a helmet. And again, on the taking a huge shot on the strip sack, and maybe that wasn't the one that got him injured, that got him taken out of the game.
But they accumulate.
It is still like the kind of thing we're talking about here. So I would say that should be a priority. Is you've got to learn how to protect yourself, and it has to have been a priority over the last few weeks. If it's not, that's a huge issue. But then the injuries also affect the play. If he does have a long-term hand injury, if he has to spend 2 months rehabbing it, well, now that's 2 months that he's not working on the mechanical stuff you need him to work on. And he couldn't do that last year because he was still rehabbing that knee. And we saw the result of that. You need to spend some time in the offseason. Like, this is such a massive offseason for J.J. McCarthy, regardless of what the Vikings decide to do at the quarterback position. Even before you're talking about that, for McCarthy, whether it's on the Vikings or he gets traded to Cincinnati or whatever, this is such a huge moment for him. And if he has to spend it in the tub, and he's not going to get better. You can't learn how to throw when you're in a cast. You can't. And we learned that. So they really play into each other. But you got to learn how to protect yourself. If you can't protect yourself, you cannot be a quarterback in this league. We've seen so many examples of guys that never learn how to protect themselves and end up getting beat up so much their bodies fail them and they never come around in the league.
Rip
The
Jake
January 6th press conference for Kevin O'Connell, end of season. Very, very interesting to see how he plays that with all the questions.
Interesting things always happen on January 6th.
Okay.
Yep. You're wasn't. I knew I was inviting that. Odds and ends to put a wrap on this 16-13 slugfest. A pick
like
six,
a playoff atmosphere.
A pick six was saved by Abdul Carter being a couple inches offside. That again, a ball off of Jalen Naylor's hands. I put that one more on JJ McCarthy, but penalties, 22 of them today, 11 on each side. It was asinine how many flags there were and how many big plays were impacted by flags. Like the Giants, I mean, if this game if there had been something at stake, we'd be talking about any number of penalties that gave the Giants like free first downs on a third down stop several times in the game. Obviously the helmet to helmet calls, but I thought that was relatively interesting.
I did like, so here's the thing. I think a number of the penalties, so this, by the way, I believe Paul Allen pointed this out. This is the most penalty happy crew in the NFL. They call more penalties per game than any other crew. And there were a couple of penalties that I didn't like the Justin School holding penalty I didn't think was a very good one. But if I took every penalty that I personally didn't like away, the Vikings still committed way too many penalties, right? Like, there's just not a way around the sheer number of genuinely correctly called penalties. Plus, Ron made a good point. Addison probably should have been called for another penalty that wasn't called for offensive pass interference on like a mid-screen type, shallow
the
crosser.
Catch and run, third long, yeah.
Yeah. So, I think that was very, very sloppy play from both sides, accentuated by a ref crew that seems overly concerned with slowing down a game and making it unwatchable.
Vikings also got an interception in this game. Let's give them a round of applause.
Hey, Byron Murphy.
Byron
off
Murphy. Off of a tip, but we'll take it.
Hey, the way this season has gone with tips, we're going to take
Yeah, that's
it.
true. There's so many dropped passes from opponents that flew up into the air that hit the ground with like Josh Metellus or Isaiah Rodgers just like inches away from a pick. We'll take it.
Dallas Turner could have like 3 interceptions in a different world.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
Also,
he has not dropped into coverage as much this year.
And Andrew Van Ginkel was in a position for 2 different ones. One that turned into an incompletion because of the way that, he showed up in the screen, whatever, right? But the second one, what a crazy athletic play that almost pick was.
And it would have been an easy pick if he had not tried to almost make the spectacular pick, because I think it was Theo Jackson just playing center field right behind him, just sitting
that
there.
was an unbelievable throw. Why did you do that? Like, unbelievable as in I literally don't believe that you tried that.
That's like Baker Mayfield's throw for the pick at the very end of the game. I don't know if any of you saw it, but
Ooh, I have not.
I saw it because I did have something on Mike Evans, which did not play out, unfortunately. And it was a throw that, in theory, was to Mike Evans, but actually it was to no one but a defender. So it felt like very similar.
Yeah.
Like, what were you looking at? Actually, that's interesting that you saw that.
Yeah, I've done very little. I've done very little homework on the draft, but if you're a Giants fan, you've got Dart in the building, and you're probably going to get the number 1 pick.
You're probably
trading. Yeah, I'm going to say you're content with Dart. You're trading the pick.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
To like the Raiders or Jets or whoever wants to go up and
same
take
with
Dante Moore.
same with the Titans, who unfortunately for themselves beat the crap out of the Chiefs. Which
Worth it. That's got to feel so good.
That's got to feel good. Gardner Minshew or not, that's got to feel amazing.
Yeah.
Kind of cool too that the Packers lost in an unbelievable collapse last night, which I think improves the likelihood that Week 18 means something. You want it to mean something.
Well, the Vikings get to kingmake now. This is what's cool. They play the Lions and the Packers, and assuming the Bears don't collapse and lose the division, it's one of those 2 teams gets the 7th seed, and if this is a 1-1 situation, it's whichever one beats the Vikings. So we get to kingmake. Although if it's Max Brosmer for 2 games, that's probably not going to come up.
No, I mean, we've often said Max Brosmer Kingmaker, right? Like, I feel like that's a common phrase,
If one of those teams does like show up to US Bank Stadium and lay an egg and lose to the Max Brosmer led Vikings 2s.
Oh yeah, they
you probably
deserve
shouldn't
the
be
loss.
in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, that's
You should just be eliminated right then and there, whether you have the tiebreakers or not.
Yeah, you know how like Florida State didn't make the college football playoff just because their quarterback got hurt? It'd just be like that, right?
Yeah, it's just on principle. Just throw whoever loses the NFC South, just give them that spot, you know?
Right, exactly. Well, second in NFC South.
Well, yeah. I'm not saying anything weird about Tyler Shuck, okay?
You look great today.
Hey, I enjoyed that hour. I'm really enjoying the commiseration.
I had fun for that half hour I was there for it. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
I hope the
together.
audience could watch it.
Thanks for watching,
More
listening,
watchable
commenting,
than the Vikings game.
Yeah.
and subscribing. Back tomorrow with Monday edition of the Squad Show, talking Lions. More recap of today's 16-13 win. That's Luke Braun, host of Locked On Vikings. That's Arif Hasan, Wide Left Substack, and I'm Sam Ekstrom. Appreciate the viewership, and we will talk to you tomorrow on the Squad Show.